So I learned off of TikTok today that I guess it's the Super Bowl, so I decided to wear every single piece of sports gear that I own, which I've been told neither of them are football related, so I'll just stick to what I know and show you how to make some pasta today. Okay, so today I'll be using some really nice small winter mussels. The difference between winter and summer mussels is that in the winter they get a bit smaller, a bit saltier, and a bit more firm, and I really love that, as opposed to the summer ones that get a bit larger, a bit more buttery, and a bit more sweet. So I want to utilize that during the winter and make a pasta with mussels. So that's what we're going to be doing today. First step into making this pasta, saffron and mussel pasta, is going to be to bloom the saffron. Saffron being like one of those really expensive ingredients, we really want to make the most of it. So what we're going to do is first we're going to dry it. A lot of saffron come out from the store and it's already dry and it crumbles really easily. My saffron is a bit more fresh, so I need to dry it a little bit further. By drying it a little bit further, we're going to allow it to get even more color and more flavor to our dish. So I'm going to take probably the equivalent of 15 threads, and I'm going to take this and put it in an oven at 300 for about 3 minutes. We're not trying to get any color off of that. Like I said, we're just trying to dry it so it's gonna grind more easily and it's gonna bloom and give as much flavor as it can. We're gonna do about 3 minutes in an oven at 300. All right, so now my saffron came out of the oven. It's very dry. It crumbles between my fingers super easily. And now what we're gonna do is put it into my little mortar pestle here, and we're gonna grind it. Make sure you get all of it, huh? We're gonna grind it until it's a powder. So now that we have a beautiful powder like this, we're gonna cover it with about half of a cup of white wine. The acid naturally happening in the wine is gonna take that flavor and bloom it even further. And that's how we're gonna get that really, really beautiful color. And we'll let that sit for about 30 minutes. So while this is sitting, I'm gonna clean my mussel. So very simply, we're gonna remove the beards from each mussel, and then we're gonna toss them in some nice cool water to remove some dirt that may be on the shell. Today I decided to pick about 8 mussels per person, and I'm feeding 2 people, so I got 60 mussels. So now that our saffron is blooming, our mussels are clean, let's get into the cutting. This is gonna be super straightforward. I'm gonna start with about 4 cloves of garlic. Maybe I have 6 today, but maybe, you know, they're really small. And we're just gonna slice them. Don't need to go paper thin, just slice them lengthwise. So next, I'm gonna thinly slice about 2 shallots, 2 large shallots, so that's why I'm using 3 today. I'm gonna slice them lengthwise, and then once that's done, I'll just cut them thinly. All right, that can just stay all off to the side of my board. So the last cutting I'll have to do is parsley. I got about half of a bunch of parsley that I just washed, and I'm keeping the stems on, and I'll be slicing the whole thing, starting from the leaf. I'll just do a normal classic move. We're bundling up, and we're slicing away. So most of this parsley is gonna be cooked with the sauce. So it really, really doesn't need to be very finely chopped or chopped in a very fashionable way. You can just go until you meet stems, and the little stems in there won't hurt no one. We'll save about a heavy pinch as a garnish. Awesome, so our cutting is done. Now we're up for the pasta. I have my water already boiling. I'm gonna add, this is about 3 quarts of water. I'm gonna add about 3 tablespoons of salt. So 1 tablespoon of salt per quart of water. And I'm gonna do, like I said, cook for 2 people. 2 people is usually gonna do about the size of a big quarter. If you got some Canadian reference, it's about the size of a dollar coin. And that's really good for 2 people. So I'm gonna put in my water and let that go. While the pasta is cooking, we're gonna build our sauce. And I have this medium pan over medium heat, and I'm gonna make sure to really cover the bottom of the pan in olive oil. And don't tell me that's too olive oil. That's gonna be remaining and becoming the creamy and delicious part of your sauce in the end. So that's why we're starting with a lot of oil. And then we're gonna do our shallot and garlic at the same time in here, just like this. After we put this in, we're not trying to get too much color on there, we're just trying to sweat it. We're gonna get a little bit of salt. And I have a chili here. I'm gonna do about half of a chili, which is gonna be the equivalent of maybe the quarter of a teaspoon chili flakes. Chili and saffron are very good friends, and they always have been. And you're gonna thank me for that, because that's gonna add a lot of flavor. So it's been about 5 minutes, and since this is cooking, nice and tender and sweet, and it's ready to take on the parsley. All the parsley's going in. We're gonna stir everything around to get all these beautiful aromas out of the parsley, and then it's time for our saffron mixture. I forgot to mention that earlier, but if you don't have any wine on hand, just using boiling pasta water or any boiling water for ballooning your saffron will work just fine as well. So that is going in, and look at this beautiful color. Beautiful. The wine is gonna definitely change the color of the parsley. It's gonna go a little bit more muddy, a little bit more brown, but it's okay because we're still gonna get a ton of flavor from it. It's just not gonna be as sexy, but I'm willing to sacrifice that. Once this is back up to a boil, it's time for our mussels. Mussels cook really quickly, so I only have about 4 minutes until my pasta is done, so I can put my mussels in right now. And then we'll cover that up for the remaining time of the cooking. Pasta is finished cooking. I'm gonna save a bit of pasta butter just in case it needs more moisture, and I'll strain it. So this pasta now is going right on to the top of the mussels. Even if the mussels are not fully cooked, it's all right because we're gonna keep cooking this in the sauce a little bit, and that's gonna get all those flavor very well incorporated with the pasta. All right, so I put my pasta in and I cooked it with the sauce a little bit longer. I did not have to add any liquid, and as you see, the sauce is still a bit brothy in most areas, just like this. But when it comes down to pasta with seafood, I adore a sauce that's a bit more brothy like this, coating the pasta in just such a gentle way. So instead of kind of flipping and flipping and flipping my pasta, I just give it nice gentle stirs around like this, because if you were to flip it, it would just result into all the mussels falling off their shells. And you want to keep that because it's just so beautiful. In my opinion, the flavors are really amazing right now. All I'm gonna do is finish it with a touch of lemon and a touch of finishing olive oil. This is so good to me. Saffron, the garlic, the chili, the olive oil, a little bit of the wine, it's really all coming through. And another thing I really like for plating a lot of seafood pasta is I don't like no fuss. You just take your pan like this, get your plate, and let it all fall. I don't want no pile, I don't want no elevation, I want every bite to be in with the sauce. So you don't have to search for the sauce that's just sitting at the bottom. You get to just have sauce every single bite. And the only thing I would tell you to do, make sure all your mussels are nice facing up to get that drama, you know? Make sure they're all open as well. If any of the mussels are not fully open, then just chuck in because they're not good. And this is it. We're gonna finish it with a touch of parsley. That's it. Very, very, very simple. Very, 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 very satisfying pasta. I could not be happier with the result. I really am happy with it, and I really hope you give it a try as well. Very simple ingredients. Of course, you're splurging into the saffron, but we're really making the most of it, and I think once every now and then, a little saffron, a little winter mussels doesn't hurt no one. So subscribe to my channel for weekly recipes, and if you give this a roll, please let me know. I'll be very happy about it. So thank you for watching, and I will see you next week. This is like actually really fucking delicious.